Namaste, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll discuss about pulmonary volume and capacities. I've also discussed about the structure of lungs and the mechanism of breathing. I have put the link in the description box. If you want, you can go through it. So let's start our topic. In my previous video, I have discussed about the mechanism of breathing. Now we will see thoracic versus abdominal breathing. In human males, the lateral movement of thorax constitutes 25% of breathing, while abdominal movement accounts for 75% of breathing. In pregnant women, almost the entire breathing is through lateral movement of thorax. Therefore, breathing of women is often regarded as thoracic, while that of males as abdominal. Now we will discuss about respiratory or pulmonary volumes and capacities. The quantities of air the lungs can receive, hold or expel under different conditions are called pulmonary volumes. The combination of two or more pulmonary volumes are called as pulmonary capacities. Pulmonary stands for lung. First we will discuss about respiratory or pulmonary volumes. First is tidal volume. It is the volume of air inspired or expired during normal breath. This is about 500 ml, that is, a healthy man can inspire or expire about 6000 to 8000 ml of air per minute. The lowest value is of tidal volume. Here you can see this is the tidal volume. Second is inspiratory reserve volume, IRV. In the picture you can see it is the extra amount of air that can be inspired forcibly after a normal inspiration, that is called forced inspiration. It is about 2500 to 3000 ml of air. Expiratory reserve volume, ERV. It is the extra amount of air that can be expired forcibly after a normal expiration, that is forced expiration. It is about 1000 to 1100 ml. Residual volume. It is the volume of air which remains still in the lung after the most forceful expiration. It is about 1100 ml to 1200 ml. Now, respiratory capacities. Inspiratory capacity first. It is the total volume of air a person can inspire after a normal expiration. It includes tidal volume and inspiratory reserve volume. Here you can see this is IC, which includes the total tidal volume and the inspiratory reserve volume, which is the volume of air inspired or expired during normal breath plus the extra amount of air that can be inspired forcibly after a normal inspiration. Now, expiratory capacity. It is the total volume of air a person can expire after a normal inspiration. This includes the total tidal volume, which is the air inspired or expired during normal breath, and the expiratory reserve volume, which is the extra amount of air that can be expired when forcibly after a normal expiration. Now, functional residual capacity. Here you can see this is the functional residual capacity, and it includes the RV, which is residual volume, and the expiratory reserve volume. The volume of air that will remain in the lungs after a normal expiration is called as functional residual capacity. Now, the fourth one is vital capacity, VC. Here you can see VC. The maximum volume of air a person can breathe in after a forced expiration, or the maximum volume of air a person can breathe out after a forced inspiration is called as a vital capacity. This includes the tidal volume plus the IRV, which is the inspiratory reserve volume, plus the expiratory reserve volume. which varies from 3400 ml to 4800 ml, depending upon age, sex, and height of individual. The vital capacity is higher in athletes, mountain dwellers than in plain dwellers, in men, the women, and in the young ones than in old persons. This is the total lung capacity. It is the total volume of air present in the lungs and the respiratory passage after a maximum inspiration. It includes vital capacity and the residual volume, which is the VC, which means the vital capacity, which is the maximum volume of air a person can breathe in after a forced expiration, and the maximum volume of air a person can breathe out after a forced inspiration, plus the reserve volume. Reserve volume is the volume of air which remains still in the lungs after the most forcible expiration. So it means the tidal volume plus the inspiratory reserve volume plus expiratory reserve volume plus the RV. All the pulmonary volumes and capacities are about 20 to 25% less in women than in men, and they are greater in tall persons, athletes, than in small and slight built people. Now we will learn about respiratory quotient, RQ. Respiratory quotient is the ratio of volume of carbon dioxide CO2 produced to the volume of oxygen consumed over a period of time in respiration. So RQ is equals to volume of CO2 evolved by volume of O2 absorbed. The respiratory quotient varies in different foods utilized in respiration. For glucose, it's 1, as the RQ is calculated as 6. You can see in the slide the carbohydrate, which is glucose, C6H12O6 plus 6O2 during oxidation, it gives rise to 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O. So the RQ is equal to 6 volumes of CO2 produced by 6 volumes of oxygen consumed. So it's 1 unity. And in fat, the RQ value is 0.7. In the similar way, palmitate, its formula is C16H32O2 plus 23O2 after respiration releases 16 molecules of CO2 plus 16 H2O. So the RQ results is 0.7 unity. And in protein, the average RQ is 0.8. The RQ is determined by Gannon's respirometer. In anaerobic respiration, there is no consumption of oxygen. Carbon dioxide is produced in most of the cases. Therefore, RQ is infinity. The respiratory quotient indicates the type of food oxidized in the body of the animal during respiration. So, in most of the chemical reactions involved in the production of energy, O2 is consumed and CO2 is produced. An adult human consumes about 250 ml of O2 and produces about 200 ml of CO2 per minute. The respiratory system is concerned with the supply of O2 to the tissues and removal of CO2. The air reaches the alveoli of the lungs during inspiration. The atmospheric air contains oxygen of 20%, carbon dioxide of 0.04%, nitrogen and other inert gases to 79%. During respiration, the lungs and the respiratory tract are never empty of air. Instead, there is a tidal volume of air, which is 500 ml. You can get this question in exams, which is the tidal volume. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any doubts, please let me know through the comment section. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe. And do not forget to hit the bell icon. Thank you.